Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's talk about a feeling that I think a lot of us know. It's that feeling of being constantly on edge, just trying to get through the day. We're going to call it what it is: survival mode. Does this feel at all familiar to you? Like you're constantly running a race, but there's just no finish line in sight? No matter what you get done, you're just bracing for the next problem, the next fire to put out. If that hits home, you are definitely in the right place. So, what is survival mode really? Well, psychology sees it as this quiet, kind of sneaky subconscious shift. It's not some big sudden breakdown. It's more like a slow, steady rewiring of your nervous system, caused by all those little, constant, low-grade stresses. Basically, your brain starts pouring all its energy into just getting through the now, and that often comes at the expense of your future. So how can you tell if that survival switch has been flipped on in your own mind? Well, let's break down 5 key signs. And we're going to start with the first one, which is all about how your brain starts scanning the world around you. Okay, so the first big sign is all about your external radar. When your brain flips into survival mode, it cranks up the sensitivity on its sensors. It essentially turns you into an expert at picking up on potential social threats. Think about it for a second. Have you ever walked into a room and before anyone even says a word, you just know the vibe is off? You can feel the tension in the air. That's not just you being intuitive. It's a highly tuned defense mechanism kicking into gear. And there's a really good reason for this. Your brain isn't just being nosy. It has learned from past experiences that your emotional safety, and sometimes even your physical safety, depends on being able to read people and spot problems before they blow up. Psychologists actually have a name for this: high interpersonal sensitivity. You can think of it as a kind of guarded empathy. You're not just feeling with people, you're scanning them for data, always on high alert for what might go wrong. All right, so let's move on to our next couple of signs, which are really, really closely connected. Because when the outside world feels like a minefield, our brain naturally tries to manage that pressure by turning inward and looking for ways to escape the discomfort. And this brings us to our second sign, and it's a little bit of a weird one. You're exhausted, right? So you should want to rest. But for a brain stuck in survival mode, a quiet moment can actually feel dangerous. It can spark feelings of guilt or anxiety because your nervous system has learned that being busy or productive is what keeps you safe. And that leads us right into our third sign. If you can't actually rest, what do you do instead? You find escape behaviors. The most classic example of this is mindlessly scrolling on your phone. You're not doing it because you're fascinated by what you're seeing. You're doing it because you're actively avoiding a task or a feeling that just seems way too overwhelming. And this is such a crucial distinction to make. Healthy rest is intentional. It actually recharges your batteries. An escape behavior is just a mindless distraction that masks the problem. And I want to be super clear. This is not about laziness. This is your brain's working memory being totally overloaded by stress, and it's desperately looking for a quick, easy shot of dopamine to just take the edge off. Now, the thing is, this internal chaos, it doesn't just stay cooped up in your head. It often starts to spill out into your physical world. And that brings us to our fourth sign: physical chaos. This is a big one, and I think a lot of us can relate. It's that silent collapse of your personal space. That stack of mail that keeps growing, the pile of clothes on the chair, the desk that's disappearing under papers. It doesn't happen all at once, does it? It's more of a slow, creeping thing. And here's the science behind it. When your brain is pouring every last drop of its energy into just managing your emotional survival, it simply stops caring about the outside world. It has completely run out of what we call cognitive bandwidth. So what looks like just a messy room is actually a perfect picture of a mind that is at full capacity. Okay, so that brings us to our fifth and final sign, which also really helps us understand why our brain does all of this. Let's dive into the psychology here, because this isn't a glitch in the system. It's a protection mechanism. And that very protection mechanism leads us to our final sign. You start reacting with noise instead of clarity. Maybe you snap over something really small, or you feel completely paralyzed by a simple choice. It's not really about the situation itself. It's about what's going on chemically inside your body. Let's just walk through this chain reaction. First, you've got that chronic low-level microstress that leads to constantly high levels of cortisol, which is your body's main stress hormone. That flood of cortisol then causes what's called cognitive rigidity. It literally makes it harder for your brain to think flexibly. And the end result? You react with all that noise because it's just mirroring the chaos that's going on inside.
I really want you to let this one sink in. If any of this is sounding familiar, please hear me on this. You are not broken. This is not some character flaw. It is your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's adapting to immense pressure to try and keep you safe.
Just recognizing that you're in survival mode, that's the first and honestly the most important step. So let's talk about how to gently, and I mean gently, guide your brain out of this state and back toward a place of growth. This is such a powerful idea to hold on to. The circumstances that pushed you into survival mode, that survival wound, that might not have been your fault at all. But reclaiming your peace, your sense of calm, and moving forward, that healing is your responsibility. And it's one you absolutely have the power to take on. And the good news is, this shift doesn't require some massive life-altering change. It starts with tiny, totally achievable habits. Things like spending a little time in nature, forest bathing, which is proven to lower cortisol, or maybe just taking 10 minutes, that's it, to declutter one small area. That sends a powerful signal of control and order back to your brain. Or practicing intentional rest, like sitting for 5 minutes and doing absolutely nothing, which gives your nervous system a direct, clear message that you are safe. So I guess the question I want to leave you with is this. Now that you can recognize these patterns, what's just one tiny step you can take today to tell your nervous system that it's safe to finally power down the alarm bells? Are you ready to make that shift from just surviving to actually truly growing?